guys, welcome back to Simply Watching TV, where we are talking about season 1, episode 4 of Sex and the City. This episode is called Valley of the 20-somethings. Oh, Valley of the 20-something guys. This is a really interesting episode. They talk about basically taking a step into the wild side a little bit and dating younger men and seeing what they have to offer. Not really like taking anything seriously, but just trying to see, like, you know, we can just have a little fun with them. So let's get into it. So it starts off instant eye roll. Like, I'm just annoyed already. Big is back. He's back on the TV screen, and basically Carrie starts off with her narration of how they just keep running into each other. Oh, everywhere, like catching a cab, in a coffee shop, walking down the street, like they just run into each other everywhere. So she's over here thinking that it's fate, like they're meant to be, and it's just like, girl, no, it's not. Like, he's just annoying. So she's like falling more and more. It has a strong infatuation with this guy. They keep running into each other, and she's just like, you know, I really like him. Like, this is great. So her and her friends plan to go out. They go out to like this club thing, and she invites him, of course, or I think he invites her, but he was like, meet me here for a drink thing. He's so weird. Like, just say it's a date. Like, just ask her out. Why can't you ask her out on a date? I think this is like red flag number 1. Why can't you ask her out on a date? Why does it have to be meet me for a drink thing? Like, I think Big always kind of like viewed Carrie as like this fun, hot thing or whatever, but nothing like never anything serious. Cause it's just like, every time he like gets with her, it's just like some flingy type thing. It's nothing serious. So that's kind of weird to me. But he's like, meet me for this drink thing, right? So her and her friends go out. It's her, Miranda, Samantha, Charlotte. They're out in this club. And he's late, of course, right? So she's freaking out. She's just like, oh, he's late. Miranda is already over it. So Charlotte's like, who's late? Like, who are we talking about? And Miranda's just like, Big, like, can't you tell? That's all she talks about. Which she's not at that stage completely yet, but it's like every time he's brought up or every time he becomes the topic of conversation, he's like, she's obsessed with it. So Miranda's like kind of annoyed, but not like annoyed yet, because I think she can kind of see where this is going. Like you're feeling him way more than he's feeling you, girl. So she's just like, oh, he's late, he's not here yet, whatever. So they go into the club anyway, and she's just like, whatever, I'll just meet him inside. So then he calls public phones in the club. Like, what? What was it, on his voice message? Or it was something that was something prehistoric, where he basically says he's not going to be able to make it. So red flag number 2, he stands her up for whatever reason. He won't be able to make it. She's kind of like bummed, but not gonna let this ruin her night, which pretty cool. Like, absolutely do you, girl, because yeah, that kind of sucks that he won't be able to make it, but we're not letting this stop our night. So it is what it is. 20-somethings are introduced, right? So they see these 20-somethings. They see these 20-somethings at the bar, and you know, they're kind of flirting and stuff like that, but it's again not taken any seriously. Samantha meets her 20-something, and she's like, yes, I like this is mine, you know what I mean? Again, not taking it seriously, but you know, Samantha's like that. She gets real hooked on to a dude, like sexually, and then, you know, has her fun with him, and then that's it. Then there's another 20-something, and he offers to get Miranda and I was about to say Charlotte, Miranda and Carrie some drinks, but the bar is so crowded, and they're just like, oh, the bar's kind of crowded, I don't know if you have any luck. And he's like, no, the bartender's my personal friend. And then it kind of like sparks a thing, like, you know, yeah, 20-somethings do kind of rule like the club scene, you know, like 30 plus, y'all are over the club, y'all are tired of standing, tired of dancing, tired of can't get in a section, don't know how to get a drink. 20-somethings are just like, no, I know this person, I know that person, I know the club owner, I know this. No, 20 somethings. But the ones that have friends in different places, they can get you things like that. Miranda also invited Skipper out, and this like made me feel so bad for Skipper. Skipper this whole time has been trying to get Miranda her martini. They told Skipper that they wasn't making any more martinis. Now, if you have the martini ingredients, why are you not making martinis? Like, I hate when people do that. Like, don't just do stuff that are like special for your friends, or like, oh, if my friend, because later you're gonna understand why I'm saying this. But don't tell certain people that you can't do something and then you do it for somebody else. Like, that is so annoying to me. So Skipper is like, they stopped making martinis, but I hope you like rum and coke. Of course, Miranda, being the that she is, no, I don't like rum and I don't like coke. So, and it's just like, did he know that? Did you tell him your order aside from a martini before he went up to the bartender and asked for a rum and coke? Like, I doubt that you told him I don't like rum and coke and he was like, you gonna like what I give you. Oh, like, be nice to Skipper. Like, she's just so mean to Skipper. Like, she was so mean to Skipper. So then, of course, as if Skipper already doesn't feel like a complete like doofus, here comes this 20-something with a little thing of martinis that the bartender just told Skipper that he wasn't making anymore. Oh, so you made them for your friend, but you're not gonna make them for this well-paying customer? Like what are we doing? Like, this is why people don't like going to the club. Cause what? Why are you making a special drink for him, but you ain't gonna make it for me? So then, of course, Miranda's just like, he got me my martini. Girl, go on, please. Because, so, Carrie's like kind of flirting with the guy, the 20-something guy. We find out his name is Sam. So she starts flirting with him. She finds out he has a tongue ring. What? So she's like looking at his tongue ring. She's like, what is that? She's like in this man's mouth. And then who pops up? Big. So instantly, of course, he sees Carrie having a ball, maybe not a ball, but having a good time like she was supposed to do at this club with the guy. Now, yeah, she was all in his mouth looking at his tongue ring, but what was she supposed to do? Be dying like in a corner crying because you stood her up? That's what he wanted her to do. And she told him respectfully, decline, I'm gonna have fun. So Big shows up and he was like, oh, I just told you I was running a little late. And she was like, no, your machine said that you wasn't gonna you weren't gonna be able to make it. And he was like, I said I was running late. I don't know where you got I wasn't gonna be able to make it. Bruh, like, come on, it's just too much, right? So she's just like, okay, well. And he's like, but you know, I spent so long looking for you. I spent so much time like standing outside. I have to go now. And she's just like, bruh, okay, like, do you? Which I think is whack. So you mean to tell me you got dressed up in your tight booty suit to come down to this club full of 20-somethings and Carrie and her friends just to finally see her and then tell her you have to go? No, you got mad and got in your feelings because she was all in this dude's face looking at his tongue ring, which, okay, and you wasn't feeling all that bad because you stood her up and couldn't even make it to the club 15 seconds ago. Now that you're here, you want her to just be like, oh my God, like, he couldn't make it. I'm so sad. No, like, that's not how it works, right? So she's like, she stays in the club with her friends having a great time, right? So Big leaves, of course, because he's feeling some type of way. Bye. And she's having a great time with him. They start making out, and she, you know, the next morning, Samantha calls. Gory details about what her and the 20-something that she had wrapped around her finger was doing. Gory details. And Carrie is like, girl, like, okay. And she's just like, no, you know, 20-somethings are good for something. You know what I mean? Like, they're just great. And she's like, how was your night with Sam? And she's like, oh, we kissed. And she was like, and she's like, that's it. We kissed for 5 hours. I really forgot how great it is to just kiss somebody for a really long time. Like, he's a really good kisser. And she's just like, oh, okay, well, you know, I had the time of my life. We know, Samantha. Like, we knew you was gonna have the time of your life when we saw you wrapped around that man in the club. Like, you know what I mean? So Carrie looks down, and and the 20-something wrote his number on her arm. Side note, how come every time in TV shows, when they give somebody their number or they write it down or something, it always starts with a 555. Like, what was that? No area code, just the 555-074. Okay? Like, where am I calling this at? So she's like, oh, okay, like he wrote his number on my arm. That's so kiddish. I think throughout the episode they just keep alluding to the fact that, this 20-something is definitely different from Carrie and her friends, and it's just like the age gap is just crazy, right? It gets even more obvious at the end of the episode. But him writing his number on her arm was so that was so, like, I don't even know what to call it, but it was very young. So then she starts pondering it, like, like, what is the fixation, or maybe like what's the thing that younger guys have with older women? Like, why is this such a thing? And so of course she starts polling the people, and it's like all these 20-something dudes basically in their opinions on older women. And some people say that, they know what they want. I think when they say this, though, they're not necessarily talking about relationship wise. I think they mean like they know what they want, as in they know that they only want me for a sexual thing, and they're not all into feelings and stuff. Like they know that that's what they want, so they call me for that, and I don't have to like give them more than that, which is cool. I think that's what they mean when they say that. They also said, older women give great things. Don't know. Leave in the comments if that's true. But they're really grateful for things, which I could see. Like, sometimes, when you get older and you just kind of tired of dealing, I think like that's where kind of Carrie is. It's kind of like not necessarily grateful, desperate, but just kind of like, you know what, this was a good fling and cool. Whereas like sometimes younger women just always want to be like the relationship, or like, oh my god, like, are we gonna get married, stuff like that. But I think when older women sometimes are dealing with younger men, it's like the superficial thing that the men want it to be, as far as like sexually, and that's good for them. So that works for them, right? Big calls Carrie again for another drink thing. Again, why can't you just call this thing a date? Why is it a drink thing? Like, what does that even mean? I think she should just leave him where he's standing, like right then and there. Like, you refuse to call this a date, and that's really weird to me because you're old. Like, not old, but you're old. You're too old to be dealing with this. You know what I mean? Like, you're too old to not be able to say the word date when it comes to the opposite sex. Like, what are you talking about? Why can't you just ask me on a date? Right? So she's like, okay, of course Carrie decides to go. Of course Carrie is not gonna, challenge him on that. So she's like, oh, okay, I'm going. It's a drink thing, whatever. Like, let's have fun, right? Charlotte calls with a dilemma. So Charlotte has been seeing this guy, right? Her boyfriend. I forget his name, but I wrote it down. I forgot. It's not John, because that's the guy that Samantha is sleeping with, John with no H. What is Charlotte's boyfriend's name? I forget. But anyway, her boyfriend is very good looking. He has manners and he has money. And those are the three things that Charlotte needs, okay? And he's perfect up until he asks her to do the one thing that she is not willing to do. And that is some booty. Some booty play. She does not want to do it, and I'm not judging her on that. Usually I do not fool with Charlotte and her thought process, and even then she's gonna get on my nerves when she tells him why she doesn't want to do it this time. But he asked her to do that, and she feels so weird. This is, again, early 2000s, so that, I mean, now somebody asks you to do that, you're just like either yes or no. Like, it's not that big of a deal if somebody were to ask you that. Back then, though, it's like, who do you think I am? Like, and they even get into that whole kind of thing of how taboo it is, right? So she is like freaking out because she's like, oh my God, it's not going to work with him. Like, why would he ask me to do something like that? We're not compatible sexually. Maybe not. I don't know. So she calls Carrie, and she's just like, I have an issue. Like, I have a problem. And Carrie's like, hurry up, make it quick. Like, I have a drink thing with you know who, so make it fast. And she finally tells Carrie, she's like, oh girl, I am gonna be in front of your apartment in 10 minutes, right? So they're in the cab and they're talking about it. She's like, we're stopping by Miranda's and we're stopping by Samantha. She's like, no, I don't want to tell them about, you know how you have that one friend, like you're in a friend group, but you have that one friend that you just tell like your business to, and you don't necessarily tell the whole group that. That's kind of that thing. But then she ends up telling them anyway. Carrie told her that she needs to have a big group of friends around her in this. Girl, you was just trying to get to your drink thing with Big. Like, you was not concerned about that girl and her problems. Rightfully so, because that's not really a big dilemma, Charlotte. But, and it didn't need to be solved right now. But, okay. So, but I like how they did it because they kind of get the perspective of both, right? Because Miranda is like kind of the tightwad, whatever, the stick in the mud. No, Charlotte's the stick in the mud. Miranda's a little bit more liberal than Charlotte, but so Miranda kind of thinks about or debates the whole respectability about it. Like, are you going to be able to respect yourself after you do it? Is he going to respect you after y'all do it? Right? Then Miranda's like, peach posh respect. Like, girl, it was, these places on our body was meant to be explored. Everybody was like, mind you, the taxi driver is like, what y'all talking about? And they keep telling him like, bro, you're driving. Like, can you drive and get out of our business? That must have been mad crazy. Like, imagine, I watch all kind of like New York movies and TV shows and stuff, especially in the early 2000s and 90s and 80s and stuff, where taxis were a big thing. And the conversations that happened in the taxi. Pause. Have you guys seen Love Jones? Because do y'all remember, now it wasn't in New York, but it was in Chicago. Do you guys remember when they were in the taxi and it was after she had slept with Darius and she's telling her friend and her friend was asking her basically like details and she was getting so deep into it and she was just like, it called me. And the girl was like, what did it say? And she was like, Nina. And then the guy's like, the taxi driver is like looking in the mirror, like laughing. Like, I can't, because can you believe that? Like, you're driving a whole taxi and you hearing somebody like getting broken up with, or, you know, I don't know, just anything. They must have had some really crazy conversations in a taxi. Like, you have to be really comfortable. To me, people wouldn't want to ride a taxi with me because I don't want that taxi driver knowing my business. Okay, like, this conversation's gonna have to pause until either he gets out the car or we get out the car. Like, I don't know. But whatever. I don't know. They're comfortable with that kind of stuff. So they have that whole debate and they drop Carrie off at the restaurant where her and Big are supposed to have her drink thing, right? So she shows up and he's there and she's like, oh, so we finally get a chance for it to just be you and I, right? Here comes somebody walking up to the table. He goes, well, actually, my friend is joining us. And she was like, I mean, she must have had to pick her face up off the floor because it was just like, she's like sitting there like, what are you talking about? Your friend. And so his friend sits down and he sounds all kind of bitter, right? So he's talking about how he's going through a divorce and his current wife that he's divorcing is getting what the last person, you know, ran off with. And it's just like, okay. And so again, she's like sitting here like, what is he doing here, right? So he sees the friend sees this beautiful woman at a bar and he's like, oh, she's gorgeous. I'm gonna ask her if she wants to have drinks with us, right? So then he walks off to the bar to go talk to the lady. And Big is like, I'm sorry, he caught me in a crisis. And it kind of reminded that part, I don't know if that was the whole point of why Carrie got mad. But as soon as he said that, I thought about Charlotte because I was like, now that same thing just happened to her. And if y'all want to argue about if it was important or not is one thing, but her friend did call her needing her and she prioritized Big over her friend in their drink thing. So why couldn't you do the same for your friend? And I get that his friend called him crying about his divorce, but first of all, this ain't your first divorce. Okay, what are we celebrating? My divorce. This isn't your first divorce. And again, I told my friend and had my other friends rally around her to have a drink thing with you, but you couldn't do the same thing for me and with your friend. So to me, ding ding ding, another red flag. He, it's just always these if, ands, buts. I don't know. When it comes to Big and her trying to do something, he never like can just put her first. So with that, I say that's pretty crazy. She gets upset, but it's more like a passive upset, right? So she's like, you know what? Why don't let's just have it, make sure it's a guy's night. And he's like, are you sure? And no, he doesn't say, are you sure yet, right? She's like, let it be a guy's night. You guys can have drinks on me, right? She gives him, a couple of dollars or whatever. And then he says, are you sure? And she's like, abso-effing-lutely, with a smile. But I'm like, that is the most passive absolutely I've ever heard in my life, because she was irritated. And even after she walked off, she was like, I don't know what to feel. I don't know if I should be upset, confused, hurt, like I don't know. And it's just like, see, it's all these different things. You felt pathetic in the beginning of the episode because you were listening to a voicemail trying to figure out if the dude liked you enough or not. You sit here and you confused on your feelings because you don't know how to feel about the fact that every time y'all try to get together, he either stands you up or he brings somebody else, to where it's never just the two of y'all, right? So it's weird. And then it's just like, you can never figure him out. That kind of stuff I think is enticing and exciting, but it's also annoying and it's a headache, and you always have to sacrifice and put yourself on the back burner because you're too busy trying to figure him out. Don't nobody have time. You a grown man. Like, what are we doing? Right? So she walks blocks, miles in $400 shoes. That's another thing, girl. You really gotta watch your pockets when it comes to Carrie. Don't leave your wallet around that girl, because she gonna spend your money on some shoes, okay? So her feet are tired. She goes into the bar and she's like, I just need to feel something. I just need to, you know what I mean? She runs into her favorite 20-something and they hit it off again, and they ended up doing the deed, right? So they go back to his place and they do it. And it was cool. It is what it is. She wakes up the next morning, still there, and she starts like looking around, not like getting out the bed, like sneaking around, but just literally laying there, like looking around. And she starts realizing that this 20-something life is probably not what she wants. Like, their apartment is raggedy. It's dirty. It reeks of teenage boy. Like, it's just, she makes a crack at Urban Outfitter candles, and it's hilarious because I like Urban Outfitters, but when she said that, I thought of like the store and the decor and the candles and stuff, and I was just like, yeah, like there's nothing wrong with an Urban Outfitters candle, but it does say that you're in your 20s. Like, it does say that you're like 15, 25. I know 15 is not 20s, but it's young going on, like, young adult. And that's what it gives. And then it just gets worse. They're out of toilet paper. He doesn't have coffee filters. He used the toilet paper, the last bit of toilet paper for the coffee. Like, that just, ooh. And then a roommate comes out of the room. Oh no. Shirtless, nasty, hair matted, looking crazy. She's just like, this is not for me. Duh, girl, get out of there. Why are you even still there? Like, no, I don't even think about. Was you not conscious when you got in there? You had to enter into the apartment. I wouldn't have stayed. No, thank you. I'll leave the same night. Maybe not though. I don't know how comfortable you are, like catching a cab from a sneaky link at like 2:00 in the morning, 3:00 in the morning. I don't know. It's something about me wanting my bed though. So I think I would have had to when it came to that, because, you know what I mean? So she finally leaves, right? And she's walking down the street is it the next day? Or it might be the same day. I don't know. But she's walking down the street getting some fresh air. Oh, yes, it is the same day. She decided to walk because she wanted some fresh air. She needed to. After that nasty apartment, she needed some fresh air. And she needed a shower when she get home, because that's gross. She decides to go on a walk, and she runs into the friend of Big at the restaurant, right? And he's with some new lady, and it's just like, bro, you're going to keep going through this. You're just going to keep doing the same thing. And so he's with a new lady and he's like, hey. And she's like, hey, right? And she's like, why do I always run into the people that you don't want to see, but you never run into the people that you do want to, here go Big. Finish tying his shoes like, hey. I'm just like, girl, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this with Big? You know what I mean? So she sees him and he's like, oh, why don't you join us, right? She gonna look at his crossword puzzle and say, oh, Hinge. And he's like, what? And she's like, the word you're looking for, to put two things together, Hinge. First of all, that was corny. That was corny. That was corny. This whole episode was about them two getting together, and then that's the one word that he needs to finish his crossword puzzle. Come on, man. Come on. So she's like, oh, Hinge. I saw it in your crossword puzzle. The crossword puzzle is this big. How did you see that? 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 You didn't. You didn't. You're spying. Like, that didn't happen, right? So she walks off and she's just like, no, I won't join you guys or whatever. And so he's like, oh, I'll call you and get together. And she's like, and she says this is kind of iconic. It's kind of iconic. She said, I'm good at crossword puzzles. I don't know about human puzzles. I said, period, because this man has been like literally playing with your mind this whole episode, like your emotions, your time. He's been wasting it. Like, leave him where he stands, right there. Oh, on that note, like right there, just I don't do human puzzles, and then walk off, and then that's it, and then we're done with Big. But we're not done with Big, are we? We're not done with Big, are we? Because we get so many more seasons of Big, it's not even funny, right? So she walks off, but then the doggone girl looks back. And she even said it too. She was like, oh, it would have been so cool if I hadn't looked back. Exactly. Because it's still, now I won't call her pathetic, but it's still, not as player as you wanted it to be. Leaving us on a cliffhanger of her and Mr. Big again. I'm not excited for their future. I already know how it's going to end, but I'm not excited for it. I'm not excited about it. I feel like this whole episode really, honestly, this one right here just explained for the future why they should have never worked. They should have never tried it 50 million times. They shouldn't have done that because all he do is waste people's time. And time she don't have. So that was the episode. Oh my God, wait a minute. I forgot. Charlotte. Okay, we're gonna have to rewind a little bit. Charlotte finally has the guts to tell her boyfriend that she doesn't want to do it the way he wants to do it. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, refer to what I said earlier. That's the way he wants to do it. And she, but okay. So kudos. I'm glad she stood up for her beliefs and how she felt, not beliefs, but how she felt about not being comfortable doing it and telling, I like that. I hate when women don't feel comfortable doing something, but then they do it anyway, because whether that be threesomes, whether that be a certain type of way to have sex, like I hate when people do something only because they want to make the other person happy, because that is like it's not going to be a good time. And it's like, to me, I feel like if your partner doesn't want you to have a good time or doesn't care about you not having a good time, then what kind of thing are we doing? Like we should both be enjoying this. I don't want to do something where you're the only one that's enjoying it, because then that's not fun, and you shouldn't want to even do it with me because I'm not having fun. So kudos to her for telling him. But then she goes on and on and on about how she wants to get married and nobody wipes the back door, girl. And I want to, girl, climb it up. Because even he said it too. Like, she's like, I want to have kids one day. He said, can we just do it the regular way? Golly. Like, whatever will get you to shut up. Just shut it up. And she just is like, I want to have kids one day and I want to be married and I want to blah, blah. Charlotte, it's not all that. Just tell him you don't want to do it like that. And then that's it. So, I'm sorry I forgot that part of it. I try my hardest to remember everything without looking at like my notes that I have here, but It's really hard because I just think it's so awkward for me to be like, okay, wait, what, and then like take time to like look at the notes. But then sometimes then stuff like that happens and I forget, especially when it comes to Big, because y'all know I get carried away with him. He irks my soul so bad, I get carried away. So we hope for smoother storylines, but catch me back here again with the next episode, season 1, episode 5. Also catch the next episode of Girlfriend, season 1, episode 5. In that episode, we'll be getting into Joan breaking up, or trying to anyway, with Big Hit Marcus. And then episode 5 of Girlfriends of Sex and the City. I don't know what that one's about, so we'll find out. We'll talk about it, or I'll say it at the end of the Girlfriends episode and talk about it then. But other than that, see you guys later. Bye.